Well, listen, welcome to, I know it's been a while since we touched base, I know via text, and I want to welcome you to the midterm rental insurance hot seat.
Yes.
For signing up, obviously we get to ask 3 questions or
Hmm.
less under 15 minutes or less, and get a pleasure to, you know, get a chance to collaborate together for these next 15 minutes. And of course, you being here, you consent that this will go on social media to help other investors like yourself. So
Right.
I got your questions in front of me. Thank
Okay.
you. And I
Cool.
don't know if I'm happy to pull those up, or if you have some new questions, happy to tackle those. So do you want to go
Well,
with what you have?
yeah, man, I gave it some thought, and I think those were the most important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
Awesome. So the first one, you say, I currently demand $4,650 a month for my 3 bedroom, 2 bath in Columbia, South Carolina. How can I add value to the companies I work with to warrant 5,500 a month? Okay,
Hmm.
that's a good question. So the first question I would ask, thank you, is the what is the property value of that specific home, that 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom?
Yeah, so that's gonna be 170,000,
Okay.
170, 180, somewhere in
And
there.
what do you typically get the 4650 from? Is this like an STR number that you've gotten in the past? Is this a long-term rental number? Where do you get that number from?
Yeah. So the 4650, we'll just let you know the market is
Hmm.
when I did a long-term lease one year, I was doing 1595.
Hmm.
Um, this 4650 is from a group called United Corporate Housing.
Yeah, one of those
Uh,
guys.
yeah, yeah. So that is where that 4650 came from. Yeah.
And where
Mhm.
did you get in touch with United Corporate Housing, or how did they find you?
Yeah, I think it was either Zillow or Furnish Finder. It was it was an inbound lead, you know. But yeah, one of the platforms might have been Airbnb. I don't remember, to be
Yeah,
honest.
I
Yeah.
typically see them on Furnish Finder. That's pretty,
Furnish Finder.
uh,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Zillow. That's awesome. So now you're saying,
Right.
now, how did you get the 4650? Was it listed at that price? Is that what your proposal was at? Like, where did that number come from? Was that something they told you, or is that something that you suggested?
Yeah, I put 4,500 out there, I believe.
Hmm.
It was listed like that. Yeah, so the 4,500 plus plus the 150 for the cleaning made it 4650.
You have monthly cleaning.
Monthly cleaning, exactly.
I
Yep.
like that. I like that. That's good. Well,
Mm.
honestly, the how can I add value to the company I work with to warrant 55? There's a few things. One, I like that you have the cleaning fee. I like to have add-ons to justify for the add-ons. A lot of people sometimes take the add-ons for granted, right? It's kind of
Right.
like, hey, by the way, like, I'm fully furnished. That's number one. I'm pet friendly. That's number two. Landscaping's included, right? Or whatever the case might be, cleaning fee, etc. When you
Mhm.
start to add on a lot of these things that maybe are taken for granted, right? And you can start to add those things as items when it doesn't make sense to them. You say, okay, great. Well, what if I took out this part, or what if I took out that? So sometimes it's just itemizing the list to actually kind of inflate your number a little bit, or at
Right.
least justify your value.
Right.
Um, I think that's one of the things you can do. But the simplest thing you can do is start high. I always like to start high because, you know, we can start the conversation at 5,500, even if you tell me that that won't work in your budget. Now that
Right.
we have the conversation, it's always easy to adjust down rather than just be able to say, adjust up. Like I always say, you can always adjust down, but it's hard to adjust up because that's almost like bait and switch, right?
Right.
Even though I wouldn't even, I say that lightly,
Mhm.
because part of it too is, if my price is low on Furnish Finder or Zillow Rental Manager, and they reach out to me and I quote them at 6,000, or let's say 5,500, I can always justify that, where, our prices are dynamic. So what you see may not reflect what I'm currently charging at with respect to the season that we're in. Boom. That's it. That's your explanation. There's no other restrictions, or you don't need to feel weird about it. That's just the nature of our business goes. Whether it's the airline industry, the short-term rental industry, prices are constantly dynamic, and
Right.
they're floating.
I like that the dynamic. I mean, I've my experience with pricing has
Mhm.
come in one, having an STR guests through Airbnb and having it at one price. And then when they wanted to renew, um, by then I had already upped the nightly, right? Um, Thinking about future guests, and they wanted to renew, and so now it's at the higher price. And so she came back. She said, "Listen, I don't think I can get this approved." And I said, "All right, cool. We can keep doing it the way we were." Um, just 2 weeks ago, because we have a new property in Colombia,
Mhm.
I got it booked, I believe through CRS,
Mhm. Nice.
booked. And in the midst of getting it booked, there was, I believe THD reached out, um, and also saw the listing, right? And so, just full transparency, I let her know we were working on a lease, and you know, and but the first person to sign the lease and sign the payment gets the property. Um,
Nice. I
so
love
what
that.
she said, yeah, what she said, she was like, okay, I'd be willing to bid up, and this is the first time, you
CRS
know,
said that.
that what's that?
CRS said that. Or THT, you said.
Dominique Martin. Is it Dominique Martin? But THD, I believe it
Yeah.
was. Yeah. No, Jacqueline Dominique Martin, Jacqueline Brown
Mhm.
at THD, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Um, and so that, and then the last thing was for our single family in New Jersey. It's a 3-1, and we had a prospective uh, renter that was coming through. I don't really remember which agency, but it was coming through them, and you know, I decided to test the market. I decided to test the market. I usually get about 3,500 for it, and I said, you know what? It's $5,500. You know, and so we went back and forth, and um, we kept it on Zillow. Right, that's the first thing. We kept it on Zillow, and they came back. They said it was too high. We didn't we didn't have an opportunity to have that conversation. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they said it was too high and that they went somewhere else. And I was like, okay, just keep me in mind for next time, so on and so forth. But those are my experiences with pricing. You
Yeah.
know,
So
yeah,
it's pricing is very interesting because keep in mind, like to your point, when you go aggressive, if there are alternatives,
mm-hmm.
there's a good chance they could find an alternative. But if there aren't, there's a good chance that now your price is the best thing they got going. One of the things that I like to do, and we just did this for we just got a family in
Mm-hmm.
with THD due to a fire is I
Okay,
was able to actually come down. I always like to start high. I was able to come down my price because I know fire might be at 6 months in, right? 6 months to eight. I mean, you might as well building a new home at that point.
right,
So I'm factoring the occupancy that I'm going to be 100% occupied for the next 6 months. So we always have to do the math, right?
right,
And sometimes it's a little bit of a gut check. I don't want to be too far off because then I
right.
might lose, but I also don't want to leave money on the table. So it's almost like having that sweet spot. But what I can say is always start high because it's easy to negotiate low, and it's a better conversation. Everyone feels like they want to get a deal, right? Everybody, even the relocation specialists, they don't have no skin in the game. But it's like, oh wow, look, I was able to get this
Right.
home, for a good price for my customer. So
And I feel like that start high just scares me. One, because of my experience with the 55, but then,
mhm.
I always hear about your $6,500 a month deals and 7,500 and what, and I'm just like, wow, like I find it hard to put like $6,000 up on, a listing, and that's something that I need to get over. You
Yeah,
know,
well, it's funny you say that because I have the same feeling with some of my peers who are netting 10,000 a month on one door, right? But so keep in mind, don't let the limiting belief get in the way. But at the same time, let's do the math. And the reason I asked what your property is worth is about the 20 to 30% rule, right?
yeah, the
Are you
D.
familiar? Yeah, so I have to keep that in mind with
Hmm.
respect to your marketplace. Based on and for those of of us who might be watching this, 20 to 30% rule is, typically the coverage D, which is the loss of use, is about 20 to 30% of the home values worth, but usually that's napkin math. Really, it's the coverage A, which is the dwelling unit, right? So
Mhm.
with that, I also don't want to be too far off, but I
Yeah,
want to be,
exactly.
I want to be at a place where if you did inquire and you saw the price, I'm like, hey, you saw my price and you're inquiring, that's great. That means you're aware. I also don't want to be too low where I'm gonna get,
Mhm.
the neighbor next door that wants to stay at my place. I want it to be a little, I want it to hurt a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Oh,
So
listen, that 4650 is on a house that is fully paid off. So, I'm not
that's
complaining.
incredible. No,
We
that's
started
beautiful.
at 1595 in a year. We went to 3500 and now it's 4650. And, barring anything crazy, that's where it'll be. And like I said, I'm trying to push for 5500 and justify it and feel confident about it. So that's sort of kind of that was the question right there. And I
Yeah.
some good answers. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So
Mhm.
we got about a minute. We got,
Oh,
what are the top three requests you get from guests or relocation specialists? You want to elaborate on that question? What
maybe
request before, or after they walk the property? I think there's different stages.
yeah, I mean, it was just in general, so
In
that
general, yeah,
if you tell me that one thing, it's like, all right, let me do that because that's what they
yeah,
want. You know what I mean?
sure.
That's what's working.
Yeah, sure. One of the things that we get is we some extra TV. Usually is a question that we get. We got a grill for somebody. Oh, you know what a big one is? This one actually always comes up. If you don't have currently like a actual, I'm gonna use the French word armoire, but really it's like a drawer, like where to
Right.
put their clothes. A lot of people sometimes, when you're moving temporarily, so one thing when you're a short-term rental, you have hangers. That's great,
Right.
but when you're
Yeah.
staying for a long time, you're gonna need drawers. Is that the right word I'm using? Not, you know what I'm
Sure.
saying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Drawers for
Yeah.
clothes. Yeah, yeah.
And I've gotten
Uh,
all of those. I've gotten the TV,
mhm.
gotten, the chest of drawers and whatnot, and I've done them all. So okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Don't sleep on dedicated workspaces. We love to give a monitor
Yeah.
with the HDMI cord. Don't sleep on the HDMI cord now. And
Yeah.
the printer, we just someone asked us for a printer. Otherwise, the when there's pets involved, is it fenced in? That's going to be a big perk,
Nice. We
right?
actually putting the fence in the back of one of our properties.
There you
Absolutely.
go. That's a selling point. Literally, I just got inquired 30 minutes before this call.
Mhm.
Two pit bulls. Is it fenced in would be nice. That's an additional feature right there,
Yeah,
right? And
totally.
then your last question, what methods do you use to actively market your properties to relocation specialists and corporate housing companies? I got one answer for you, brother, and that
Uh-huh.
is email campaigns.
Email
Uh
campaign.
Email campaigns, and I have a very direct call to action that is going to be very helpful for anybody that's listening, and you get to benefit from this too, Sinkyu, is um if you are going to reach out,
Hmm.
make sure your call to action is very direct, and your
Hmm.
call to action should always be, how can I, is there any family that I can help in this location? Now,
Yeah.
as a
Uh,
follow up, not as a follow up email, almost as a PS or right after that. If not, could you kindly
mm,
forward this email to anybody in your office that may be in need?
hmm.
You'd be
Hmm.
surprised. The best form of selling, the best form of marketing is telling people what to do next, right? If you
Right.
leave somebody off with like, all right, see you later. Wait, what do I do? What do I do? No,
Right.
I'm telling you right now, if you're watching this, hey, grab the midterm rental insurance blueprint on my website. Oh, okay, God, that's what I gotta. Oh, I gotta hit the subscribe button. Oh, I gotta. That people need direction. So anytime you email them, let them know what you want them to do. If you
Mm,
can help them, great. If not, could you forward it to someone in your office and they'll do it like clockwork? They'll be like, oh yeah. And now we get second. We'll say you'll see like an Amanda pop up. Hey, Amanda, Joe forwarded me your email. Or thank you. Joe forwarded me your email. My name is Amanda.
right.
Now you have 2 point of contacts, and we start doing that with everybody. It's exponentially growing your list at
Yeah.
scale.
I have a VA really quick that is scouring the web and LinkedIn for
Mm,
all of these relocation specialists,
nice.
I mean, just everybody making a list. And so I'm like, all right, fine. So once I get this list, what am I doing with it? You know, like what's the best method to effectively, get your property in front of eyes? Because it's all random. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They may not be in your market right now, but they may be in your market next month. So,
Yep.
I want to be top of mind. And so what campaign am I running? And you're a beast with the emails, man. That's why I'm on this call, right? So
Thanks, brother.
yeah,
Autoresponders, and that, it's not one to one. Make sure you get an autoresponder like Mailchimp or a HubSpot or
mhm,
anything like that. That way it'll, you get to insert the name and personalize it a little bit in your voice,
right,
but it's still going out to the masses, and then you'll
yeah,
get responses. And
mhm,
sometimes they'll respond to an old email too, because they'll keep that one last thing I'll tell you is make sure that you're always including your local market in the subject line,
mhm,
because they'll do a control find and a query, and then they'll
right,
find you in there.
right, right. Okay,
Good stuff.
good
How was
stuff.
that?
It was great catching up, man.
Awesome,
It's
man. Happy New Year, brother.
so hard to get some time with, man. I'm glad I got my 15 minutes though.
Oh man, such a pleasure, man. Always reach out, man. I always try my best, as you know how it is. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
we try my best as much as possible to pour in.
yeah,
And I love what I do. So
yeah.
awesome, brother. Well, listen, I'm just an email away, or a DM. You know how it is. I'm
Absolutely.
looking forward to connecting again, and I hope you found these 15 minutes of the hot midterm rental hot seat helpful for your ventures. But it sounds like you're doing an amazing job, man. Keep it up.
Man, it's really come a long ways, especially since we spoke, So yeah, man. I mean, just really quick, we got the 4 bedroom we just purchased in Colombia in December.
Congratulations.
Within a month's time, we got, a family of 4 in there, 2 dogs. So I'm definitely happy with that.
Wow.
And this is what they call a frog, a furnished room over garage, right? That we're eventually going to have be the 5th bedroom. So I'm just really excited about having a 5 bedroom and pushing it and getting my $6,500, per month. Yeah.
Or
So
more, or
one
more.
more, one more.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Don't, no limiting beliefs, and
Definitely
no
believe.
barriers.
Totally, totally.
I
Yeah,
love it. Hey, thank you, man. Such a pleasure. Thanks for hopping on, and I can't wait to continue to hear about your success. Continue to share, man. I love what you're doing, and it was nice to catch up in the flesh, or at least virtually, almost in
yeah.
the flesh.
Same here, Ruben. Same here, man. Happy New Year. Enjoy.
You too, brother. Sending you tons of abundance your way, my friend.
Thank you. Same to you, man. Take care.
Awesome. Take
All
care.
right.
Have a good one.
Bye.